15. Have Mercy Baby. The Dominoes.
Read it all, my darling, and I don't know what to do.
Voiceover copy, read with rising warmth and gospel grit. If you grew up around jukeboxes and late-night radio, this one hits like a plea shouted from the church pew into the dance hall. Have Mercy Baby by the Dominoes. Recorded and released in 1952, the record was built around Clyde McPhatter's wild, gospel-soaked tenor, the kind of voice that could break a room open.
I've done you wrong. Have mercy, mercy, baby.
This wasn't just another single. It spent 10 weeks at 101 on the R&B chart, and critics later pointed to it as a turning point where gospel intensity and secular R&B fused into something new. That raw call and response energy, and a sax that sneaks like a confession, made it impossible to ignore.
Have mercy, mercy, baby. Have mercy, mercy, baby.
14. Crying in the Chapel. The Orioles, 1953. Voiceover copy, soft, reverent tone, slow pacing. Before Elvis ever stepped to the mic with it, Crying in the Chapel belonged to the Orioles, and it sounded like prayer set to vinyl. Released in 1953 on Jubilee Records, this song wasn't made for dancing or jukebox shouts. It was made for the quiet. Late-night radios, slow walks home, hearts mending in the dark.
Lead vocalist, George Nelson, second lead Bird.
Sonny Till's voice floats through like a whisper of faith, trembling, sincere, every syllable soaked in hope. The group blends doo-wop warmth with gospel grace, and what comes out feels holy. It was one of the first R&B records to cross over into pop charts, reaching the Billboard Top 20, years before soul was even a term. Money Honey, Clyde McPhatter and the Drifters, 1953.
Women may come and women may go, but
Voiceover copy, confident, streetwise, warm vintage tone. When Clyde McPhatter left the Dominoes and formed the Drifters, nobody expected their first big hit to sound this bold, this alive. But in 1953, released on Atlantic Records, Money Honey didn't just hit the charts. It blew open a new lane for R&B. This wasn't a sweet ballad or a polished harmony tune.
the woman that I love best. I finally got my baby by the hand.
This was grit, groove, and gospel fire squeezed into 2.5 minutes. Clyde's voice jumps out immediately, sharp, pleading, playful, like a man laughing through trouble, because that's the only way to survive it. The stand-up bass walks with swagger. The saxophone leans in like a friend whispering the latest neighborhood gossip. And behind it all is that unmistakable Atlantic backbeat that pushed R&B closer to the birth of rock and roll. 12. I Need You So. Ivory Joe Hunter, 1950. Voiceover copy, intimate, slow, emotional, late-night tone. Before R&B was loud, before it was flashy, it was quiet, and no one understood that better than Ivory Joe Hunter. Released in 1950 on MGM Records, I Need You So is one of those songs that makes the whole world slow down. No gimmicks, no big band drama, just a man, a piano, and a heart that sounds like it's breaking one careful note at a time.
And you leave me.
Hunter was known as the Baron of the Boogie, but here he lays all that energy down and leans into pure vulnerability. His voice drifts in soft and trembling, like he's singing from a kitchen table at midnight, one lamp on, an empty glass nearby, and a love he's scared he's losing. The piano is gentle, almost shy. The rhythm section barely taps along. It feels less like a performance and more like a confession whispered to someone who may never come back. And that's why the song hits so deeply. 11. Pledging My Love. Johnny Ace, 1954.
And your loving way.
Warm, tender, emotional, with that Quiet Storm 1950s glow. Some songs are beautiful, and then some feel like they're made out of moonlight. Pledging My Love is one of those. Released in 1954 on Duke Records, this tender ballad stands as one of the softest, most intimate moments in early R&B. Johnny Ace doesn't sing it, he breathes it. His voice is gentle, steady, almost fragile, like he's whispering a promise directly into someone's ear. The arrangement is simple but perfect.
Forever burn.
A slow trembling guitar, a soft piano pulse, and a rhythm section that moves like a slow sway on a quiet dance floor. It's not showy. It's sincere. Pure devotion pressed onto vinyl. But what gives this song its haunting power is the tragedy behind it. Just as Pledging My Love was climbing the charts, Johnny Ace died backstage on Christmas Eve. A rising star, gone at just 25. The song instantly felt different. Not just romantic, but ghostly. A promise frozen in time.
Just promise me, darling.
10. Every Beat of My Heart. The Royals, 1952.
Wine, there's a dose.
Soft, romantic, early 50s street corner soul. Before the Midnighters, before the jukebox scandals, before the fame. They were simply the Royals. And this was their quiet masterpiece. Released in 1952 on Federal Records, Every Beat of My Heart is one of those delicate early R&B gems that wraps itself around you instantly. No flash, no theatrics, just pure, honest tenderness. Sonny Woods leads with a gentle, breathy vocal, the kind that feels like he's singing inches from your ear. Behind him, the harmonies rise and fall like soft waves, steady and warm, giving the song that classic street corner group charm the 1950s were built on. The rhythm moves slow, swaying like the last dance of a school gym night. You can almost picture it. Lights low, heads resting on shoulders, feet barely moving, just two people holding on to a feeling. The song did well in its day, but history pushed it aside when Gladys Knight and the Pips brought their powerhouse version in the 60s. That cover became the one everyone knows.
All night long.
9. Two Hearts. The Charms, 1954. Street corner romance with real-life sweetness. Released in 1954 on Deluxe Records, Two Hearts is pure early R&B truth. No studio tricks, no polish, just harmony, sincerity, and feeling. The Charms were masters of that front porch, summertime vocal style that defined early doo-wop and R&B. Otis Williams leads the track with a smooth, boyish tenderness, and the group answers behind him with tight harmonies that feel like warm air on a July evening. This is the sound of real people singing about real love. You can picture the scene perfectly. Kids playing stickball in the street, screen doors open, radios humming from living room windows, and these harmonies floating through the neighborhood like part of the breeze. There's nothing complicated about the song. A simple beat, a simple message. Two hearts becoming one. And that simplicity is exactly what makes it unforgettable. 8. Need Your Love So Bad. Little Willie John, 1956. A smoky, late-night confession with one of R&B's greatest voices. Released in 1956 on King Records, Need Your Love So Bad is one of those songs that doesn't just play, it bleeds. Little Willie John had a gift few singers ever touched, a voice that carried pain, longing, and confession all at once. He didn't perform this song, he poured it out. Written by his older brother, Murtis John Jr., originally as a heartfelt love letter, the track transformed the moment Willie stepped up to the mic. His trembling delivery turns every line into a plea straight from the soul. The arrangement is spare, soft guitar curling like cigarette smoke, a slow rhythm swaying like someone nearly too heartbroken to stand, and Willie standing in the center, telling the truth.
It's time to go. That's what I need.
7. Shake a Hand. Faye Adams, 1953.
When I tell you that
Gospel warmth wrapped in early R&B glow. Released in 1953 on Herald Records, Shake a Hand is one of those tracks that feels like a comforting arm around your shoulders. Before soul had its name, Faye Adams was already singing it into existence. Her voice is rich, warm, and full of church-born power. Not flashy, not showy, just deep, honest emotion. When she sings, you feel it in your chest before your ears even catch up.
yes, you knew it from the start.
The song's message is simple: loyalty, reassurance, and steady love. The promise that someone will stand beside you no matter what. But under Faye's delivery, that simplicity becomes something almost sacred. The piano rolls like a choir warming up. The background harmonies move like a Sunday congregation responding in unison. And the rhythm sways slow enough for your spirit to breathe.
Now don't you believe me?
6. Ling, Ting, Tong, The Five Keys, 1954. Playful, polished doo-wop charm with elegance to spare. Released in 1954 on Capitol Records, Ling Ting Tong is pure early R&B fun, smooth, flirty, and filled with that unmistakable five keys polish. In an era where a lot of R&B was raw and rough around the edges, these guys brought refinement. Rudy West leads with a velvet soft vocal, delicate and effortless, while the rest of the group slips in behind him with warm harmonies that feel like a musical wink. They glide between lead lines and backups like dancers passing each other on a crowded floor, always in rhythm, always in sync.
And as I look around,
The arrangement is simple but crisp, light piano touches, relaxed tempo, and a rhythm section that sways instead of stomps. Everything feels clean, smooth, and quietly confident. You can easily imagine the scene: a diner jukebox spinning this one, the clink of soda glasses, couples sharing milkshakes, teenagers tapping their shoes under the table while pretending not to smile too much.
the lights were going down.
5. Try Me, James Brown and the Famous Flames, 1958. The moment James Brown became James Brown. Before the cape, before the crown, before he was the godfather of soul, there was Try Me, released in 1958 on Federal Records. This was the song that transformed James Brown from a struggling young performer into a rising force. His earlier hit, Please, 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 had been dismissed by critics as a fluke. Too emotional, too dramatic, too wild. Radio stations hesitated, labels doubted him. And then Try Me arrived. Brown doesn't attack this song with fiery grit. Instead, he sings with trembling vulnerability, stretching every word like it might break in his hands. You hear uncertainty, hope, heartbreak, and tenderness all at once. It's the sound of a man pleading not just for love, but for his chance. Behind him, the Famous Flames hum with gentle support, their harmonies soft and steady, like a hand on the shoulder of someone trying not to fall apart. 4. Bim Bam Baby, Frank Sugar Chile, Robinson, 1951.
Oh, you must have the wrong room, Sonny.
Pure joy, pure talent, pure childhood genius. Released in 1951 on Capitol Records, Bim Bam Baby is one of the most joyful bursts of early R&B ever recorded. And it wasn't delivered by a seasoned bluesman or a slick showman. It came from a 12-year-old prodigy. Frank Sugar Chile Robinson wasn't just a kid who could play piano. He was a storm of rhythm and talent. When he sat at the keys, his hands flew, his fingers rolled, and the music came pouring out with a confidence grown musicians would envy.
See what I mean?
Hey!
He didn't simply perform, he attacked the piano. His body bounced, his voice danced, and every note radiated pure mischief
Not now.
and excitement.
Later.
You can practically hear the grin on his face as he sings.
Is my
The song
father
swings
there?
with a bright, rolling rhythm. piano lines tumbling over themselves, drums tapping with a jumpy pulse, and Sugar Chile shouting
Oh, he
energetic
left.
phrases like he's already in the middle of a house party. This track captures everything early R&B was: raw, unfiltered,
It's
and
my
overflowing with
Aretha.
life. 3. Since I Met You Baby. Ivory Joe Hunter, 1956.
Since I met you, baby, my whole life.
A glowing, grown folks slow dance classic. We return to Ivory Joe Hunter, because when it comes to elegant, heartfelt romance, very few touched what he could do behind a microphone. Released in 1956 on Atlantic Records, Since I Met You Baby is a warm, glowing, slow burn ballad that felt like it floated straight out of a kitchen slow dance at midnight. Hunter's voice here is smooth but confident, gentle, polished, and steady, like someone who finally found peace after years of searching. The arrangement is soft and silky, a mellow blues rhythm that sways without rushing, a tender saxophone weaving in and out like candlelight flickering in a quiet room, and a piano guiding everything with calm, graceful touches. Ivory Joe wrote the song himself, both the lyrics and the music, and that honesty shines through. There's no exaggeration, no oversinging, no gimmicks, just simple, genuine affection. Listeners felt it immediately.
I'm a happy man.
2. Let the Good Times Roll. Shirley and Lee, 1956. A playful dance floor flirtation that defined 1950s joy. Now this is where the room lights up. Released in 1956 on Aladdin Records, Let the Good Times Roll is pure celebration. A duet so full of charm and chemistry, it practically smiles through the speakers. Shirley Goodman and Leonard Lee had a magic that felt effortless. They weren't just singing with each other, they were singing to each other, trading lines like two people flirting across a crowded dance floor. The groove is irresistible, a rolling piano bounce, drums tapping like fingers on a diner countertop, and that sweet back and forth call and response that made everybody feel like part of the conversation. This was the soundtrack of sock hops, house parties, and summer nights where nobody wanted to go home. If this song came on, the floor was never empty for long.
Come on, baby, let the good time roll. Come on.
Shirley and Lee were nicknamed the Sweethearts of the Blues, even though they weren't actually a couple. Their contrast made the magic work. Her voice bright, youthful, and teasing. 1. Drown in My Own Tears. Ray Charles, 1956. The moment R&B stepped into true soul, raw, aching, unforgettable. Released in 1956 on Atlantic Records, Drown in My Own Tears marks one of the most important turning points in American music. This isn't just a great song. It's the moment when R&B fully transformed into what we now call soul. Ray Charles had already been blurring the lines between gospel, blues, and rhythm and blues. But here, everything came together with an emotional honesty the world hadn't heard before. His voice doesn't just sing the lyrics, it confesses them. It trembles, stretches, pleads, and breaks in all the right places. It feels like he's trying to reach someone who's slipping farther away with every breath. The song itself has a powerful history. It was originally recorded by Lula Reed in 1951, a strong blues record in its own right. But Ray slowed it down, opened the space, and let every word ache. The arrangement is simple, but devastating. A slow, steady rhythm like a heartbeat trying not to fall apart. Piano chords rolling like tears down a cheek, and a small church-like vocal group answering him with soft, aching harmonies. Close your eyes, and you're in a dim, smoky club at closing time. Glasses half empty, lights low. A few lonely people sitting with their memories as Ray pours his entire soul into the microphone.